All right, today we're putting on our detective hats. We're going to decode a really serious and kind of devastating autoimmune disease. And the whole investigation starts with just one single critical clue. Let's get into it.
I mean, really think about that. What if your own immune system declared war on your skin? It sounds like something out of science fiction, doesn't it? But for people with a disease called Pemphigus vulgaris, this is their shocking reality. Their body literally becomes the enemy, launching this hyper-precise attack on the very stuff that holds their skin together.
Okay, so here it is. This is our central clue. It's an actual exam question given to doctors back in 2006. The challenge for them, and now for us, is to sift through these options and find the one true statement about Pemphigus vulgaris. And you know, they all sound pretty plausible at first glance, but only one of them, only one holds the real key to understanding what's going on here.
So, let's crack this case. We're going to identify the key fact that unlocks this whole puzzle. We won't just find the right answer, we're going to understand why it's right and why the others are dangerous dead ends.
Okay, after all that, the correct answer is D. Yep, D. But just knowing the letter is kinda useless, right? The real question is, what's the profound truth this one little statement tells us about the disease?
And here's the full answer. It can arise at any age, but it is more frequent between the 4th and 6th decades. Okay, so this lays out the classic demographic profile. And listen, this is way more than just a piece of trivia for a test. For a doctor, knowing this demographic clue is like a giant flashing red light during a diagnosis.
I mean, think about how specific that is. 40 to 60 years old. That is the peak window. That's when this thing most often strikes. And having that number in your head, well, it's a game changer for a clinician. A patient walks in, they're in that age bracket, they have certain symptoms, boom. The suspicion level for Pemphigus vulgaris just shot way, way up.
So, the bottom line is, this isn't some random guess. It's a rock-solid fact, backed by tons of research and real-world data. And it's absolutely crucial because it helps doctors tell Pemphigus vulgaris apart from all the other diseases that cause blisters. And trust me, there are a lot of them, and they often hit completely different age groups.
Now that we've got that key fact locked down, let's build a complete profile of our culprit. What exactly is Pemphigus vulgaris, and how does it pull off its devastating attack?
Everything about this disease comes down to one key event, acantholysis. So what is that? Well, think of your skin cells, your keratinocytes, like bricks in a wall. Acantholysis is when your own immune system starts attacking and dissolving the mortar between those bricks. It's wild, right? The wall isn't being hit from the outside. It's crumbling because its own glue is just disappearing. That's exactly what's happening to the skin.
And this process leads to a huge clinical clue. You see, the blisters in Pemphigus vulgaris are really flaccid. They're weak and fragile, and they pop super easily. Why? Because the separation is happening high up in the skin's layers. Now compare that to a different but similar sounding disease called pemphigoid. Its blisters are the total opposite. They're deep, they're tense, they're firm, almost like a little water balloon. A good doctor can literally feel the difference.
So let's get even more specific. What exactly is the immune system attacking? It's going after two proteins, desmoglein 3 and desmoglein 1. Just think of these as the molecular superglue or the rivets that hold all your skin cells together. When your body mistakenly makes antibodies against this specific glue, the whole structure just starts to come undone. It's a shockingly precise and devastating error.
Now, it's important to know that pemphigus isn't just one thing. It's a family of diseases, and vulgaris is the baddest of the bunch. It's the most severe. But it has a cousin, Pemphigus foliaceus, and the differences are key. Vulgaris is deep, and it almost always hits the mouth. Foliaceus, on the other hand, is much more superficial. It leaves the mouth alone, and, this is a cool fact, it's famously endemic in parts of Brazil. They even have a name for it, fogo selvagem, which means wildfire. Pretty intense.
Okay, we've profiled the culprit. Now let's dive into the clinical response, the playbook for how doctors diagnose this and fight back.
So how do doctors nail this diagnosis? It's really like a masterclass in detective work. Step 1 is just clinical suspicion. A doctor sees those painful mouth sores and those flimsy blisters and thinks, this could be it. Then they'll do a skin biopsy, and under the microscope they look for this classic pattern called the row of tombstones. It's pretty dramatic. But the real smoking gun, the gold standard, is a test called immunofluorescence. It basically makes the attacking antibodies light up, creating this beautiful but terrifying fishnet pattern around the skin cells. Once you see that, you know for sure.
And the way we treat it now is just as sophisticated. The first line of defense is usually high-dose steroids, like prednisone. Think of them as a giant fire extinguisher for the immune system. But the real game changer, the modern miracle here, is a drug called rituximab. It's a monoclonal antibody, which is basically a guided missile that seeks out and destroys the specific B cells that are making those bad antibodies. It's an amazing one-two punch that has transformed this disease from a death sentence into something people can actually live with and manage.
All right, to really own this topic, you have to know why the wrong answers were wrong. It's time to debunk the myths and eliminate the false leads from our investigation.
Okay, let's look at why A was wrong. It said the disease rarely begins in mucosa. That's not just wrong, it's the complete opposite of what actually happens. Pemphigus vulgaris loves to start in the mouth. In fact, painful mouth sores are its signature opening act, often showing up months before you see a single blister on the skin. So yeah, dead wrong.
Next up, option B, epidemic in Brazil. And this is that classic mix-up we talked about earlier, right? Confusing the two cousins. The one that's endemic in Brazil is Pemphigus foliaceus. Vulgaris, the one we're focused on, happens sporadically all over the world. Easy mistake to make, but a crucial difference.
And what about C, the least severe form? No way. This gets the severity completely backwards. Pemphigus vulgaris is without a doubt the most severe and life-threatening form of pemphigus. Those deeper blisters mean a much higher risk of terrible infections and losing dangerous amounts of body fluid.
Finally, option E, the link to celiac disease. This is another classic case of mistaken identity. There is a blistering skin disease strongly linked to celiac disease, but it's not this one. It's a completely different condition called dermatitis herpetiformis. So, they got the right idea, an autoimmune connection, but the wrong disease. A really important distinction for any clinician to know.
Okay, we've cracked the case. But before we wrap up, let's go beyond the textbook with some lasting intel that'll help this all stick.
Want some easy ways to remember all this for an exam? I got you. For Pemphigus vulgaris, just think V is for visible in the mouth. Easy. For foliaceus, remember fora da boca, which is Portuguese for outside the mouth, because it spares the mouth. And for the blisters, Pemphigus poca, it pops easily. But pemphigoid parece, it looks like a tense balloon. Simple tricks, but they work.
And check this out. This is something I find absolutely incredible. The modern treatments we have for this disease, they stand on the shoulders of giants. We're talking Nobel Prize-winning science. Our ability to understand the genetic risk factors, that's thanks to the 1980 Nobel. And that amazing game-changing rituximab therapy, it exists because of the 1984 Nobel for creating monoclonal antibodies. It just goes to show you every medical breakthrough we see today started as some fundamental, curiosity-driven discovery years ago. It's just awesome.
So I want to leave you with this final thought. The immune system's attack in pemphigus is just surgical. It's incredibly precise. It picks out just one or two proteins from the millions in our bodies. Now think about that. If a mistake can be that specific, it means a fix can be that specific too. And that's what's so hopeful. This one rare disease gives us this amazing glimpse into the future of precision medicine, a future where we can correct the body's tiniest but most devastating errors. It makes you wonder, right? What are we going to be able to fix next?